Today we talk about the very important part, the way you talk to yourself. What is your brain telling you about everything you do or you are, you look like, or whatever? What thoughts, what kind of self-talk do you do here? And become aware of it. And if you become aware of that and understand how important it is to start there, to start that positive, appreciating way of talking to yourself, about yourself, then you will be surprised how easy it will be to really feel more and more joy and self-confidence in your life. So look forward to this wonderful talk from Eckhart, and afterwards to some really nice exercises, trainings that I will add to this for you.
What has happened through the gradual evolution of thinking is that now humans tend to overthink. There is a lot of not only unnecessary thinking that generates unnecessary and in many cases non-existent problems, such as when you lie awake at night in bed and start worrying. It generates a lot of unnecessary unhappiness. People don't realize that a significant part of the unhappiness in their lives is actually generated by unnecessary, negative, often destructive mind activity, and they don't even know it. Mindfulness is first of all discovering the simple fact that there is a voice in your head that continuously comments on your life or on what's happening around you. That's the self-talk in there. Everybody knows what the self-talk is in there. You talk to yourself. Sometimes you talk to yourself in the first person, I. Some people talk to themselves in the second person, you. So you can get annoyed with yourself, and then you say, you shouldn't have done that. And then you have another thought that says, yes, but I couldn't help it. And you might even get a third voice come in, and whatever it says, why can't I get out of my self-talk? That's self-talk too. But it's an amazing first thing, what I call the first awakening, spiritual awakening, is something very basic and something very simple. It's a discovery that there is a voice in your head that always talks to you, mostly silently. If it talks out aloud, then you're continuously, and there's nobody around, then you are considered insane. And that's only if it's loud, but most people have that inside their heads and they are not considered insane, it's considered normal. But there's not such a big difference between the two. And sometimes when you listen to, there might be a man walking in the street muttering, oh, this fucking, and you say, oh, he's really insane. But it might be that you are doing the same, but it's just not out aloud, it's in your head. I should have said that. Why didn't I say that? Next time he does that, I don't exactly know what I'm going to reply. And it goes on and on. Or you lie awake at night and start worrying. You wake up and, oh my God, what's going to happen? What if that doesn't work? And if that goes wrong? And what if he does that and on? And then you go into it. You get drawn, one thought leads to another thought and another thought. Oh my God. And then the body the body cannot distinguish between an actual reality, an event that's happening in the real life, and what your mind is saying. So when you have fearful thoughts, the body reacts to every fearful thought, and that's an emotion. The body reacts with an emotion, the emotion you feel in your body. The body cannot distinguish between an actual event and a thought. So when you think fearful thoughts, the emotions you feel are the emotions that are saying, I am in danger. There is an actual danger here. So you feel the emotion of fear, anxiety. You might feel agitated. And it's not only not pleasant, if you indulge in that kind of useless, dysfunctional, destructive thinking year after year after year, it has its effect on the body, and it decreases the ability of the body to have the energy to fight disease. Even mainstream medicine is discovering the connection between your state of mind and your state of health. And so gradually we are seeing, in the past they denied it completely. They only looked at your body, and not only at didn't just look at the totality of the body. Even within the body, they just looked at one particular symptom, what's wrong with that particular organ. And you have, of course, in mainstream medicine, you have specialists. I'm a specialist for the liver, and specialist for this and that. Not only not taking into account the totality of the body, but more importantly, not taking into account the totality of the person, which includes the physical body and the mind. So it's vitally important to discover, first of all, that there is a voice in your head that indulges in self-talk most of the time. And for many people, interestingly enough, that self-talk, for many people, is not always negative, but for many people, it is more negative than positive. A good event that happened yesterday, you might have gone to a nice reunion, or you went out into nature and you witnessed a beautiful sunset. Okay, you can remember it today and think that was a beautiful sunset, or we had a nice talk yesterday. But you can't do that much thinking about a nice event. But the mind, when there's something negative that happens yesterday, somebody offended you or didn't give you the attention that you needed, that you wanted from him, then you can start thinking of how, oh my God, what he did, he's really, next time he does that, I'm going to say that, or he really should, why doesn't he, you can go on for a long time dwelling on something negative, much longer than dwelling on something positive. It is so, seemingly a negative event is much more food for useless mind activity than a positive event. And this is why for many people, a significant percentage of their mind activity is negative. For some people, it is almost 100% negative, but it is unlikely that these people would get a job in this company. And I mean that because your predominant state of consciousness, your predominant mental emotional state, there's a certain correlation between who you associate with, where you find yourself, and even what kind of things happen to you. There is a correlation which is not always immediately recognizable, but there is a correlation between a person's predominant mental emotional state and who they are with, who their friends are, where they work, and even what happens to them. So if you are in a very negative state a long time, you tend to attract also negative events, but you can only have to find that out for yourself. I'm not saying believe me. I know it from my own life, because when I first discovered this, I was still very young. I discovered that there is a correlation between my mind activity and what happens to me. I found a book and several books that somebody left with us when I was 17. And there, for the first time, I read about a person's mind, and I suddenly realized my mind was predominantly negative, because I was a very unhappy child. And so my childhood was not pleasant. And so the initial conditioning of my life was that my mind was continuously commenting and saying how bad my life was. And whenever something bad happened to me, I had a phrase that would occur again in my mind that, of course, bad things always happen to you, don't they? They're bound to happen to you. It always happens to you. So I was talking to myself and saying that bad things would always happen to me, and they did. Spiritual awakening is to discover that there is continuous mind activity. And for some people, it's the discovery that a significant part of their mind activity is negative. But the vital thing is to discover that there is this continuous talk in my head, which is considered the normal human state. And of course, you cannot abolish thinking. Of course, there will be thinking. But the question is there an awareness behind the thinking? If you can become aware that you are indulging or caught up in that useless mind activity, and you suddenly become aware of perhaps certain repetitive thoughts that tend to reoccur in your mind again and again. You might see it in others too, more easily in others. When you go for your Thanksgiving dinner, I think is it next week, you will meet your family members or relatives, and some of you may realize you already know what they are going to say this year, because it's the same thing they said last year and 5 years and 10 years ago. And if they have negative judgments about you or somebody else, then it's the same thing you will hear again next week when you go to them. So it's easier to see how others are caught up in repetitive thought forms, not as easy to see it in oneself. This is why there's a saying that self-knowledge is the most difficult knowledge. It's easier to see others. But if you can discover, even in the midst, perhaps in the moment of a certain thought appearing in your mind, realizing, oh, that thought I've had this thought for years, it comes again and again and again. And so there is an observing presence, and from there you can, and that observing presence isn't a thought, it's just the ability to realize that there is a voice in your head and that there are thoughts. And you realize that some of those thoughts are negative, and many of those thoughts actually are not only unnecessary, but make your life very difficult, such as worry. So most people live with what I call a cluttered mind. A cluttered mind means they are completely unaware that there's a continuous stream of mental commentary that it goes. And wherever they meet somebody, immediately certain judgments form. And everything they feel, they need to immediately adopt a position towards it. Immediately say, I'm against it, I like that. Immediately adapt a mental position, and being identified with one's mental position, which is a thought.
Thank you, Eckhart, for this wonderful talk, and I love how deep you go with it. You can hear I have a cold. I catched it up. Yeah, I had, my understanding of colds. I will make a short explanation to that. But for sicknesses and colds and whatever it is, from my understanding, is like having now something with my voice, the past days I had a few issues with the dad of my children, and so this is the answer to that. My body tells me there were things that stressed me. Things have been said or I that have stressed, and that's the answer. Each cold and each symptom has a meaning, a deeper meaning. This is what I have learned from my, not just experience, but it's a combination of experience and knowledge. I want to tell you, there are books about symptoms and what they want to tell you. For example, a very big one is, look it up, it's Christiane Berland, it's her name. It's a huge book with a yellow printing on the top. And it is she's a doctor, and she found all this out through many years of experience of observing and with many patients. Yes, this is so important for everyone to know this. And still, it doesn't mean it will not happen, as you hear me. Things happen anyhow, but you can faster get out and over it and not let it go too bad, become too bad. That's what it is and what it does, if you understand that. So let's come now to the very important things that I want to also give you regarding the topic that Eckhart was talking about, the self-talk. And yes, I mean, he talks about the two versions. One version is about yourself, your person, and the other thing is about situations, so how you judge and interpret situations for you. And I would like to talk about the self-talk, about yourself. And I want to point out the so-called 5 mainly drivers that we all have inside of us, that we have been actually told and get conditioned in the past, in our childhood, through our system that we live in the industrialized countries, at least. The other countries, of course not, but the countries that we all live in. When you listen to this, you're for sure someone from that industrialized countries. So these are really important, and really I want to give you that as an exercise to really take a piece of paper and a pen and write down which of these drivers, these 5 drivers, are the ones you really feel connected with, mainly. And then you can write down underneath from where did you get these driving sentences is in your head. That way you can start realizing, okay, I have that. And also realize it's not bad. It's good to have these drivers. They make you go forward. They make you go active. It is important to come to action. But if you feel there will be situations where they push you so hard that you don't feel good anymore, and you have to really become an observer of your feelings to understand, okay, where is it that it doesn't feel good anymore and it pushes me too much and I do too much, I could do less, or so then you can there change something. Okay, now I want to give them to you. So the first one we have is be perfect. Do everything right. It's not good enough yet. I have to still
do this or that to really get it really perfect. And I have to be really correct in everything. Everything has to be correct. So that's the first one, huh? That is good to do things in a good way. But if you feel you're getting angry and whatever and get stressed, then stop it. Then it doesn't help you. Yeah. So the next one. Be always good. Always behave in a good way. Make a good feeling to others and do everything right for the others. Please everyone. You cannot say no to someone, you always have to say yes. Yeah, and to not have conflicts, you rather agree or do as someone would like to hear from you. And your own interests are not as important as all the other interests. And this is also, you see, it is good, I mean, especially with children, you have to find a way, and but look that your interests are also important. Don't push yourself too far away, and often you are not realizing that one. That driver is, for me, a pretty hidden one. So really write it down. So the next one is be strong. Do it by yourself. Don't ask for help. It's all under that. Be strong and bite your teeth together and don't show any feelings. Don't be soft. Be strong. Don't show weakness. Yeah, don't show any weakness. This is all in be strong. Mostly from people, from parents. They tell you that. Okay, and the next one is give everything. Work hard. You have to always, you have to make it. You have to face problems and get over them and work as hard as possible to get through everything until the last minute of the day. Work. It's like the workaholic ones. So, and the last one, that's a nice one. Oh, be fast. Come on, hurry up. Come on. Don't be too slowly. Don't be too late. Hurry up. Do everything at the same time to get things done, to not lose time. Yeah, so please take a look at them and check out which ones are really strongly inside of you, feeling very pushy for you. You will feel it. If you think about them, you will exactly know which ones push you the most. And impatience comes from, for example, the last one, Be fast, do everything, to be afraid to not be able to make it, to not reach it, it is. And the really crazy thing about all of these is they are all going down to that fear of death. This is where they all are born from, let's say it that way. And honestly, you will not die these days in our worlds of industrialization. Blah, blah, blah. You just won't. Okay? So really learn and to observe you and how you push yourself with these kind of drivers inside of you. And really get a good relativity to them and change that. Yeah, you could take a seat and then close your eyes and then breathe in and breathe out very slowly. And then imagine stand with your feet really on the ground, and then imagine there are roots growing out of your feet. down into the earth. They grow just into the earth, deeper and deeper and deeper. And then feel how you can, through these roots, in one hand you can release everything that is pushing, pulling, driving you too hard. You can release it into these roots, and they will give it away to Mother Earth. And by breathing in, Mother Earth gives it back to you in a warm, transformed energy form that fills you up, that gives you warmth and stability. And then imagine your head is very permeable and connects to Father Sky, that you are with your head connected through light beams with Father Sky, and that all of your thoughts, all your pressures, you can also now send up to Father Sky, and he will take it and transform it into lightness, into a very colorful, glimmering energy that, yes, gets you moving, gets your body moving, gets your whole system moving, but in a very lightful way, in a very light white way, a very joyful way. And it all comes back to you by breathing in. Yes, and now is with all this wonderful energy inside of you, become aware of your heartbeat, that it is beating without any help. You don't have to have any driver inside of you that is doing this for you. It just done by itself. Your heart is beating. Your breathing is done automatically. It's not that you are doing that. It's been done to you. And you don't have to do nothing for it. For being alive, you don't have to do anything. You just are. That's that huge gift that you are. Yes, and that's why I'm always telling you to remember who you really are. That lottery win in your life, because you get breathing, you get your blood pumped through your veins. This life has been given to you. It's your gift, your body, your whole system has been given to you as an instrument to play on, like a music instrument to play on. And you can just enjoy it from now on. It's your decision to use that instrument the way you would like. And now you can open your eyes and go into your life. And if you like a free session as one wonderful gift from me to you, go ahead, look me up on Facebook or Instagram. Somehow you will find me, because others already did find me. You can do the same and book your free session, coaching session with me, to go deeper into your system and get out a still stuck energy, to release it and fill it up with a much nicer energy that you can use for your life right now. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.